Hey, hope everybody's safe and well, and you've got, hopefully the weather's going to hold up for you to enjoy the bank holiday as well as you can. Now you allow people in your gardens. I'm at the office today, just doing some catch up on some figures and some the end of quarter stuff and that kind of thing, and making a few videos for my market. And to be honest, I'm going to have a bit of a piss and moan at estate agents now. For overvaluing, and like I've done this job for 20 years, so I understand overvaluing as a part of it, and I understand it's a tactic, and you go and list the property and then get it reduced. But what I don't think a lot of agents understand, and maybe some of the newer agents coming into the game, is how it actually impacts on people's lives. And so, yeah, I'm going to have a moan, and most of you will say bore off, but the way I look at it, if one agent maybe looks and changes their ways, that's a win. So a couple of things have happened recently. Number one, I've just seen a house go on the market in the area, well, it's the road I live off of, for £107,000 more than I've just completed a sale on the exact same footprint of a house in probably a slightly better road. And it's ridiculous. Like, yes, overvaluing, you want to win your listings. And I know the owner of this one, I've refused to list it because he wants far too much for it. So I'm not even, so I know it's not all agents. Sometimes owners want too much money, but we're meant to be the experts. You've got to be strong enough and just kind of say, no, it's not worth that. And the one that we sold, it wasn't like we just spun it out the door. It was properly marketed. It got a number of offers and the highest price it reached. And as I say, this agent's put one on at like over £100,000 more. And we're talking, mid-market, like a 3-bed detached house. It's not one with character and charm and all different, intricacies. It's a standard estate house. Because the knock-on issue of that is then everybody else starts thinking, oh, my house is worth more. This one is an investment property being sold, so the guy selling it probably doesn't care if it sells or not because he'll just keep it rented. But then you're going to have families that make their plans down the road on the basis they think they're going to get that for their house, and they're just not. But the one that's really got me, I went out to see a property again, it's kind of my core area. We sell most of the properties that I've lived here in my entire life. Without blowing my own trumpet, I hold all the records for the house price sales, in most of the roads. Like, I get good money for my houses. And anyway, so I put this house at 475. So I can see an agent trying to get a quick sale pulling it at 450, and I can see someone trying to win the listing at 500 for argument's sake. Let's give it a 50 grand swing. But someone's gone around there and said 575,000. Now I've got two problems with this. No, well, probably more than that. But the first is I know the agent gets paid for listing. So number one, like, stop doing that because they don't care if it sells or not. So it's all in a good going, oh, we're high street agents, purple bricks don't care if they sell houses. Well, your lister doesn't care if houses get sold if you're only paying them to take it on and nothing at the other end. But let's pretend the person isn't that kind of, they weren't thinking about their money. They actually were trying to do the job properly. Train them properly. Jesus Christ, they've got it wrong by over £100,000 or £100,000, sorry. Like, that's scary. On an estate, to get it that wrong, they're either doing it deliberately to earn the money, or they're so misguided, or so desperate to hit targets because they feel under such pressure. Either way, the guys above need to start looking at what you're doing with your staff here. But the bit I want agents to take out of this, and maybe some younger agents coming into this game, the reason it's an issue is, in this case, Mr. and Mrs. were separating. They've got children, so it's never an ideal situation. And they were just being really amicable because at the proper price of the house, Mr. was hoping he could buy Mrs. out, he could stay there, she could go and live down the road, buy a house herself, not unsettle the children too much and keep it as kind of easy as possible. But when someone throws a grenade in and says, oh, actually, there might be another £100,000 to play with, then people don't start getting so friendly, in divorces. And they start, well, actually, I want this much and I want that much. And it was kind of, this couple were making the best out of a bad situation. And by this agent's either naivety or selfishness, it's just caused a massive mess. And, agents, we have a responsibility to our customers. They're inviting us to look at their most prized asset. And what we tell them will have far-reaching consequences down there, because people aren't selling for fun a lot of the time. They're selling because they're trying to move on to the next stage of their life, and they need our help to get there. And so please, just try and be sensible with it. Look, I get the pressure to hit targets. I've been there in the past, and I understand, you want to win awards or whatever, but just please be better, because this industry needs us to be better. All right, thanks for listening. And yeah, no, genuinely enjoy your bank holiday.